Welcome back. As we've been reporting, President Trump has fired FBI Director James Comey. President Trump informed Mr. Comey in a letter in which he said he agreed with the Department of Justice belief that Comey was, quote, not able to effectively lead the Bureau. Paula Reid is a CBS News justice reporter, and she joins us now. Paula, Director Comey, former Director Comey, is a lanky man known as a man of integrity. When he received this news, one also has to wonder, was he also a man of temper? Was this expected in any way?
It was not expected yet. Tony, since Trump took office, there have been whispers around the Department of Justice and at the FBI that it was possible that the president could eventually fire FBI Director Comey for cause and replace him with someone who might be beholden to him. But it was not expected that it would happen this soon.
Why were there whispers? Sorry to interrupt you, Paul, but why would there have been whispers of that? I mean, typically these FBI directors serve for the full 10 years. Only one prior director had been fired. Whispers, why?
Exactly. Well, there were concerns that the president was not happy about the investigation into possible ties between his campaign and Russia, and that he thought perhaps Comey was too independent or potentially would feel the need to be just as aggressive and outspoken on the Russia investigation as he was with the Clinton investigation, specifically possibly holding a press conference or being critical of the president, even if no charges were brought. But the expectation is that if he was ever fired, it wouldn't be now in the middle of the year. It would be after an independent report was issued by an internal Department of Justice watchdog on his handling of the FBI matter. So, Tony, the expectation was once he got this report, it would have come from an independent source within the Department of Justice that's tasked with analyzing how the Department of Justice handles certain controversial matters. And that would have given him a whole stack of evidence. It would have essentially given him cause to fire the FBI director if he wanted to. So it's very surprising that instead you have two letters, one from the Attorney General and one from the Deputy Attorney General, laying out a framework for why they have fired the director of the FBI.
Now, apparently, former Director Comey heard the news of his firing while visiting the L.A. Bureau. He was to appear tonight at a recruiting event. That event has been canceled. In L.A., one wonders if he's going to stay there now that he's no longer with the FBI. And the question comes up in Washington as one career seems to head downward. Who is on the rise? Who is likely to replace James Comey as FBI director?
I've heard a lot of names. Originally, when the president took office, the one name that kept coming up was Rudy Giuliani. Now, a lot of people now sort of dismiss that as a far off possibility. But right now, what my sources are telling me is one name is Dana Bente. Now, he's certainly not a household name, but this is the man who was the head of the Eastern District of Virginia, the federal jurisdiction there. He was appointed to be acting attorney general after the president fired Sally Yates. He was then appointed to be acting deputy attorney general until just a few days ago when Rod Rosenstein was confirmed, wrote this letter essentially supporting the firing of the FBI director. Here's why people are talking about him, Tony. He's extremely experienced. He is certainly not a show horse in any way. He is very quiet. He's all about the job, and he clearly has the favor of the attorney general, Justice Jeff Sessions. Many people have told me Sessions wants to keep him around. But it was expected maybe he'd run like the tax division. But now people are talking about him as possibly someone to run the FBI who could sort of pass the political smell test.
Speaking of little-known public officials now coming into greater fame, the Rosenstein letter, the letter that laid out the cause for firing Director Comey, what are the key details in that letter?
Tony, it's fascinating because he essentially takes the timeline of what Comey did from the moment he closed the Hillary Clinton email investigation back in July to the time he sent those letters to Congress and then other times when he's updated Congress. I mean, Tony, these actions have been on the record for a long time. And there will be a report, an independent report at the end of the year that will criticize all of these actions that Rosenstein laid out in the letter. So the question is, why now? Why write a letter saying that he violated protocol when he held a press conference and when he criticized Hillary Clinton under oath, when he testified, and also those, of course, infamous letters? They're seeming to hang this all on, well, FBI Director Comey, he didn't follow protocol. Tony, he didn't lie. He didn't misuse funds. All they're saying is that he sort of violated the protocol, and they're a little incorrect in some of these instances. For example, they say he shouldn't have held that press conference. He should have handed it off to federal prosecutors. No, that's not what happened. The Attorney General of the United States, Loretta Lynch, said she would defer to Comey's judgment. He announced his judgment in a public forum, which is certainly unusual. But again, Tony, it's the whole argument is this is not how we usually do things. It's not that he lied. It's not that he broke the law. And it's not that he misused FBI funds. It's a very curious sort of proof that they've presented for this action.
3 letters explaining the dismissal, 1 dismissed FBI director, and many more questions than I can count on all my fingers and toes. Paula Reid in Washington, thanks for trying to explain some of them.